of them is just that we are using this token, but the token has to have some value for people to want to hold it. And there needs to be a reason for people to hold it. And generally, in the case of money, you don't need a definitive reason. You're just holding it because of uncertainty. So this is coming back to that, how would I explain it? Uncertainty. We hold money to reduce future uncertainty. So we have a reason to want to hold Bitcoin. And that's because we're thinking of it as a money. And now, okay, fine. People, they have their own ideas about that. But the broader idea is we can see it as a form of money that operates outside the purview of any state. And so that's the important point really to bring home. And so then you also have to layer in a bunch of other things into that also. You have to think about, well, is that system genuinely decentralized and distributed? In many cases, altcoins are not that. They can be shut down or they can be centrally stopped. And so you see that often with these hacks that happen. And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, they were able to stop the network because the government told them to. Oh, what a surprise. In the case of Bitcoin, there is no person you could point at and say, hey, take this, stop this network. We don't like it. Stop it. Sorry. You can talk to, and it doesn't matter who you're talking to. They just can't. You can talk to Michael Saylor. He can't stop the Bitcoin network. And he's probably one of the biggest holders. So that's an important aspect. I think the other aspect is just that Bitcoin is genuinely trying to take the control of money outside anyone's control. Whereas with altcoins, it's oftentimes, okay, so there's a spectrum, right? So there are some that are just straight up outright scams, right? Like the BitConnects and OneCoins of the world or whatever. And then you've got others that are really more in like a grifting category. They're just kind of promising things off into the future that are so unrealistic that they kind of, it might sort of, if you really squint hard and imagined, maybe, okay, yeah, there's a reason for it. I think we are moving into a world where Bitcoin will be seen as the overall money. Now, do I see a temporary future for things like, say, stable coins? Maybe I could see that. Outside of that, I don't really see a lot that I'm really interested in. And I think the thing to understand is, of course, okay, somebody could, to Steelman, right? Somebody could come back and say, well, hang on, look at all these people who are using these other coins. In my view, I think a lot of that is just driven by leverage and more of a gambling mindset. Now, to be clear, there are gamblers and speculators in the Bitcoin world too. But I think there are many, many more people who really see a long-term future in Bitcoin, that they see this long-term idea of sound money, and they see why there's this philosophical, economic, and human rights perspective around Bitcoin. And so when you bring it to that level and you think about what is actually achieving all of these things, right? It's provably scarce, it's decentralized, it's accessible, it's scalable in the way that Bitcoin operates without losing its qualities that make it special to begin with. And I think when you really add all of those things together, it's only Bitcoin that actually passes the bar. And that's why, in my view, and over at Swan Bitcoin as well, where I work, we just have that view that it is the only investable grade. It's in a class of its own. That's how I would summarize it.